So yeah, like I was saying, people are only listening to those people who are very flashy with their money and all those things. Not saying that God can't bless you financially, but a lot of people are drawn to prosperity preaching. So when my life came up and I needed help financially and all these things, they completely dismissed the message that God was calling me to speak. So, and it talks about that in James. I don't know if it's James chapter 1 or 2, but y'all can go read it. But it talks about how God is not a respecter of persons, and if you're treating the person with godly apparel, with certain apparel on, and you shunning the other person because they don't have these things, you have now like made yourself a judge in a way, and you are like, that's a sin, because you're basically judging people on how they look. And God said he is not like that. He is not of that. That is not his fruits. Okay, so don't be too caught on how people look, because God was using me in my homelessness. He can use angels in their homelessness to speak to you. The Bible talks about how we have entertained angels unaware. So I had to just preach to y'all real quick about that. So yeah, y'all, like I was saying, the warfare was really bad. Like as I was packing up my apartment to leave and stuff like that, like I was crying because I felt like I was going through a lot of confusion. I knew I had to leave my cats behind. I knew I had to leave a lot of things behind. I had a PS5. I had all these things that I had that I tried to take with me. God was like, you can't take all this stuff. Like, you can't take all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, Lord. So it was a really big sacrifice for me that the enemy even tries to torment me to this day and tell me that I made a mistake. And God said, you did not make a mistake. Because if you would not have left that place, you would not have been able to walk into the new that I'm trying to give you today, right? God was like, don't worry about the eviction. Don't worry about none of that, because I can still do it for you. You're talking to somebody who had a whole eviction, and God will still make a way. And I pray that encourage somebody. All right, I think I'm gonna move into chapter 3 now. I feel like all throughout this season I had warfare. I'm not even gonna count to you, but I just want to, go deeper into the story. So, like I said, after God, gave me no confirmation that He needed me to go, I was on point. Like I was ready to go. In this chapter, I'm gonna talk about where did I go, because y'all probably like, dang, like what, you packed up and like where you was at? Like, yeah. So before I left the apartment, it was like the last couple of days, I had got a eviction notice that was like, okay, you got to be out in 3 days, boom boom boom. And before I knew that eviction notice was coming, God showed me this video that said 3, 2, 1 takeoff. And mind you, I got my eviction notice on March 21st. Okay, and then my birthday was on March 28th. So imagine how it was like all the warfare I was going through as well. Like it was crazy. I was trusting God, and there was times that I would cry, and I was just sorrow, depressed, like, because I didn't understand every single thing. I just knew that my dad was going to take care of me. That's all I knew. So I got my eviction notice on 3/21, and like in that last span, they had told me I had 3 days to get out, basically. But God made a way even with that. So yeah, I had 3 days, boom boom boom. God showed me this show that I was watching. It was like this Bible animation that I be watching. They talked about I think it was talking about Abraham. It was like about how Abraham had to leave. I think it was either Abraham or was it Moses. It was like about the promised land, basically. And I was like, wow, like this was so on point. Like everything was matching up to what God was telling me to do. So here we go, y'all. I had to get up out of there. I didn't know where I was going, so I ended up leaving out of there. And God was like, I'm gonna turn, what the enemy meant for like evil, I'm gonna turn it around for your good. And He was telling me, so many people was watching me, trying to figure out what I was gonna do. I had people calling me, old friends and stuff, trying to figure out. Like God was like, just ignore everybody for right now. Like they're just monitoring. So I ended up moving out, and I was like, okay, I need somewhere to sleep tonight. So I went to my sister's apartment, and I was like, oh, can I spend a night? And I don't know. I think she said no. So it was like 2 of my sisters was living together. One of them was like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest, one of them was manifesting heavy. Like they didn't want to help me at all. But the other one would like sneak me in and like let me sleep. And I thank God for all of that. But she'll sneak me in, let me sleep there, boom, boom, boom. It was all according to God's will. So when she would sneak me in, I had to get up really, really early to just to leave and stuff like that. And the thing is, what God was telling me, he'll use your situation to test other people's hearts. So he'll have me go asking people to help me to sleep at their house and stuff. And saying no to me was really rejecting God. Like I said, I'm not God, but God was using me at the moment. So he was teaching me that he was testing a lot of people's heart posture, not just family members, but people even online, people around me. Like, it was so many things, y'all. So boom, after all of that, I knew I could not keep sleeping at my sister's apartment because she was gonna be home, and I'm like, dang, I don't got nowhere to go. I went on live. My very first time going on live, I said, y'all, God just told me to leave my apartment. I need help. I need help financially to go to somewhere to sleep, bro. In that same moment, God blessed me with like 200, 300, 500. Like, God was just sending people to provide for me. So they basically provided for me just enough that I can go to that hotel for one night. Woke up the next day, did it all over again. God would be sending different people to send me money. And it was always just enough so I can literally trust in him to get me through the next day. Cause I know we're like, dang, God, why you just overflow me or whatever? But it's like, no, he was like, I want to see if you're gonna continue. I persevered, I endured, and every day I knew God was gonna send somebody. Yeah, there was times where I'll be discouraged. I'll be like, dang, God, it's been 3-5 hours and I'm still outside. There was times I had to wait outside before I can go into Airbnbs, go into hotels. I would be in the rain because y'all know I live in Miami, so it's always raining. So there's times I got rained on. There's times where it was super hot, sweaty. There was times I went the whole day without taking a shower because I did not have nowhere to be at. So yeah, and God brought a lot of people into my life, you know, at that time. He brought people into my life to just encourage me and, you know, just fellowship. And everybody that God brought into my life, it was like online. So we'll be doing ministry online, casting demons out, you know, praying over people. Like, it was super, super cool. But yeah, y'all, like, it was a faith walk. You walking by faith and not by sight. Literally, that's what I was doing, because I did not know where my next meal was coming from. I did not know where I was gonna sleep. I don't know where I was gonna be at. I didn't know what area I was gonna be in. You know what I'm saying? It was very stressful because I used to feel like, dang, God, like, my Airbnb only $200. It seems like it's not a lot if I was in control, if I was doing it myself. But having to wait on God to provide for you through somebody else, it was very hard for me. Because let me get you to understand something. I was that person that wanted control. I wanted to do things myself. So God taught me how to not be in control and to rely on him to provide for me. God never said that, oh, this is going to be your portion forever, but God will take you through some things to break things off of you, to break off some things that maybe generations before you carried. That could have been selfishness, that could be control, always feeling like you need to be in control over your bills, always feeling like you need to work, which working is good, but it was to the point where it's like you slaving yourself at work just to survive. God does not want that for his children. God wants a lot of you guys to operate in your gifts. The Bible says your gifts will make room for you. The word of God is real. God said he has plans for you to prosper and not to harm you. The Lord said be fruitful and multiply. So people understood that those scriptures were what they said, like they were real, but at the same time, nobody talks about how you must struggle first. Nobody talks about how it doesn't just come overnight. Like, you have to literally go through your storm. You have to allow God to part the Red Sea for you, okay? You got to allow God to help you cross the Jordan River type timing. Anybody that you see probably like at a place of prosperity is because they had to go through something. And this is just my story of I had to go through something. Whether it was for a year, I was like, dang, God, I didn't even know how long I was going to be in that season. I was like, dang, like, even if it's more than a year, God, you have my yes. Even though I be breaking down and crying and confusion, and sometimes have confusion, even though God would still give me peace in the midst of the storm. But, you know, there were still times where I was like, God, what's going on? When am I going to be at this season and stuff like that? So, yeah, it was real. All in all, like, after I left that apartment, I really was in hotels and Airbnbs, back and forth, having to wake up early, get ready to get up out of hotel, trying to figure out what Airbnb I'm gonna look at. And all at the same time, I was going live every single day preaching the gospel. also evangelizing in the streets as well.